Welcome back, my dear class 12 student. Today our subject is business studies and we are going through the chapter business environment. Now in the last class I already discussed the what is economic environment before 1991. The economic environment before 1991 was not good at all in India. Now in 1991 there was some reforms is happened. These reforms are called liberalization, privatization and globalization. They are known as a LPG. Before going to that liberalization, globalization and privatization, we first actually want to know, I will tell you the reason for economic reform. What was the reason for economic reform happens at the time of 1991 when there was a Congress government and the Finance Minister Manmohan Singh, very eminent person, was there in the government. He actually recommended, some other person also there recommended these reforms. He is actually the economist, the Manmohan Singh, and at the time the Prime Minister was P. Narasimha Rao. Okay, so what is the, now come to the point, what is the reason for economic reforms we needed at the time? Now first is poor performance of public sector. Before 1991, their government thought all the sector controlled by the public sector, means government sector only. Okay, only government sector was there, and government sector at that time is actually the very inefficient. They work as a very inefficient and the epic center of production. And they are getting, their performance is very poor at that time and the production is not up to the mark. So they are actually started their losses and they are getting sick more and more. So now the government at the time thought there should be needed reform from public sector and more efficiently this can be done by the private sector, private companies, private sector. So this way the reason for economic, first reason is poor performance of public sector. Second is deficit in BOP. BOP means balance of payment. What is balance of payment? Balance of payment actually the difference between our payment to rest of the world and our receipt from the rest of the world. Suppose if I import, at the time we are importing more goods we are importing at the time. So there is lots of payment we have to make, but we are not exporting at the same time. So there is a difference. So we are not received some, our receipt is very less. So there is a huge difference. So this difference is called balance of payment. So that area should be reforms is needed. Now third point, inflationary pressure. What is inflationary pressure? Inflationary pressure means at the time the government, before 1991, government actually inflow the lots of money in the market. That is money is market, and as money is market, people purchasing power is more and people hands is actually full of money at the time because they supply more money in the market, the government. So, but at the same time the production or supply of goods is not up to the mark or not very less. So they are not actually cannot buy the goods. So the inflation will be rising because as purchasing power is more goods is needed, so inflation is raised. And this sector also, so that's why the reform is needed. Falling foreign exchange reserve. Now foreign exchange reserve, as we are at the time, foreign exchange reserve is so low that even we cannot pay 2 weeks import due. Okay, when we import we have to pay the other countries in foreign exchange, their exchange currency. mainly we are actually using the dollar currency is uses. So foreign exchange is very low at the time, and at a time government even actually deposited their gold reserve or collateral their gold reserve for the taking the foreign exchange from World Bank or from other monetary institution. So this is the foreign exchange reserve. Due to foreign exchange reserve, this is economic reform is needed. Huge burden of debt. At the time of, we have actually taking lots of debt, taking lots of loan from other country, and as there is a lots of actually loan we have taken from other country, so there is very much interest burden is more, and as our government is not at the time generating any revenue, as our infrastructure in tax collection is very less, so there is huge burden of loan, and inefficiency management means government is inefficient to collect revenue because infrastructure is very bad to collect. Main actually revenue for government is from tax, direct tax and indirect tax. But as we are the agriculture country, and there is a huge heavy goods actually industry was there, so there is very less actually. The planning is not good to collect the money because this industry agriculture income is out of the tax, and these industries are very long time of industry, capital intensive industry. They are getting profit. After the profit, they can actually pay the taxes. If there is losses, no taxes is happen. So inefficient management means here inefficient of government to collect revenue, generating revenue is there. That's why reason for economic reforms needed. Now, new economic policy, July 1991. What is the economic policy base of the economic policy? The economic policy base was stabilization measure and structural measure. There is two measures they first take in this liberalization, privatization and globalization. Stabilization measure, they first want to stabilize the economy. That's why they correcting BOP, balance of payment. They actually, BOP I have already discussed, the balance of payment deficit was very high in our country before 1991, but correcting this we can actually government started to promote export. More and more exports promote so that for foreign exchange also comes, and the difference between importing and exporting means receipt and payments will be less. And controlling inflation. Controlling inflation, actually they started to produce more and more goods very efficiently so that the people can buy the goods and supply shortage will be less. So these two measures is called stabilization measure. Next is structural measure. Structural measure means how the structurally change the economy. International competitiveness. The government tell just your competition should be with your rest of the world, not only in India. So you have to make you have to make the goods which is very quality goods, because before 1991 we are making very lower quality goods and actually demanded more price. So our demand in other global market is very less. But now government says you just do the quality product and your price should be less so that we can sell our goods to international market and compete with them. Now improving efficiency. Improving efficiency means you should you are not going on losing your business. You just make a target, and in that time you should produce quality product in a time. That is called efficiency, so that we can compete with the other countries also. So these two measures basic structure for economic reforms actually done, which we are discussing in the next class through privatization, liberalization and globalization. Hope you are enjoying the session. Thank you.